Have you spotted suspicious-looking mushrooms, and you think they may be honey fungus? If yes, stay on this video. If you can't spot mushrooms, but you are still worried about honey fungus, watch my other video, which shows you how to easily identify honey fungus in plant roots. So, on to honey fungus mushrooms. Honey fungus mushrooms usually grow in clusters or clumps. Honey fungus mushrooms will always be growing on plant material. This might be a root hidden in the soil, or a visible tree stump. The young button mushrooms start small and may only be as wide as a large coin. The young honey fungus mushrooms start with a domed cap, which flattens as the mushroom matures, often ending with upturned edges. Fully mature honey fungus mushrooms can be quite large as 15 centimeters or a hand span across the cap. What about colour? As the name suggests, honey fungus mushrooms typically have a pale honey-coloured beige cap. The centre of the mushroom cap is often slightly darker brown than the edges. The cap can sometimes be darker brown or olive-coloured, and you may see a few small flaky scales on the top of the cap. As the honey fungus mushrooms get old and decay, they turn dark brown and slimy. Underneath the cap are the gills of the honey fungus mushroom. These are also pale beige. The stalk of a honey fungus mushroom is mostly pale or lightly mottled, relatively smooth, and sometimes feels hollow if you squish it gently. On the stalk, there is usually a ring just below the cap, known as the annulus. There is one species of honey fungus, rare in the UK, but common in the US, without a ring, known descriptively as the ringless honey fungus. There are 6 different species of honey fungus commonly found in the UK, but only 2 of these species will actively infect and kill healthy plants in gardens. Unfortunately, these different species of honey fungus can be very hard to tell apart. Often, your final identification may simply be an unknown species of honey fungus. Let's compare the 3 most common species of honey fungus in the UK. Armillaria mellia is the most damaging honey fungus in UK gardens. It's got a pale, honey yellow cap, smooth surface, a clear ring on the stem, and a narrow stalk. Armillaria ostoyae is less common, but also damaging. You see a darker, scaly cap, a white ring on the stalk with small black marks at the edges, and a stalk that fades from white at the top to yellow at the base. Armillaria gallica is not harmful in gardens. It's often darker reddish-brown, with little or no ring, and a swollen, bulb-like base to the stalk. All honey fungus mushrooms have white spores, like this. Sometimes you can spot the fallen spores on the ground below the mushrooms, or on the caps of lower mushrooms in the clump. But what about common lookalikes? Let's compare honey fungus with some similar-looking mushrooms. This here is Sulphur tuft, which usually has no ring on the stem, and the cap is yellow to orange-brown, while the gills and stems are a bright acid yellow. It produces dark, olive-brown spores, giving the mature gills a brown or greenish look. And this is Shaggy Scalycap, which is easy to identify by the very obvious large scales covering both the stalk and its very shaggy cap. The gills darken to a rusty brown when mature, and it has brown spores. As you can see, the white colour of the spores is a really helpful clue for telling honey fungus mushrooms apart from the other mushrooms that look similar. But what if you're not sure what colour the spores are on a mushroom you found? Here's how to make a spore print. Start with a fresh mushroom cap, the flatter the better, and a piece of plain paper. White works well, or you can use half white and half dark, as I have here. Gently twist or cut the stem off so the cap can sit flat. Set the mushroom cap gills facing down on your paper. Place a pot or bowl over the cap. This reduces air movement and helps the spores fall straight onto the paper. Leave the spore print alone for 6 to 12 hours, or overnight if you can. Finally, carefully lift the cap straight up. And there's your spore print. You can see the honey fungus here has a white spore print, whereas the common lookalikes, Sulphur Tuft and Shaggy Scalycap, both have brown or olive green spores. So hopefully you now know how to identify a honey fungus mushroom, and you might even have a good idea of which honey fungus species it is, and whether it's harmful to your garden. But what if you're not sure which species of honey fungus? Don't worry, watch my other video where I show you in detail how to check the roots of a plant for honey fungus infection. In the UK, there is currently no chemical treatment to control or destroy honey fungus, either in the soil or in the plant. But all is not lost. Make sure you watch the last chapter of my other video to find out how to manage a honey fungus outbreak in your garden. Wishing you healthy plants and happy gardening.